honor to bring somebody I have lots of respect for, someone I've learned from, one of our mentors here, one of my mentors here, somebody who's actually broken lots of records out there, both in life and business. Yes, and she's gonna be taking us through some excuse mindset and much more. And they say your success in business, I believe 70, 80% is mindset, to be honest, So please allow me, with these few words, welcome one and only Kimberly, all the way from Canada. Over to you, Kimberly. Thank you so much. We are so blessed to have you here. And please take us home. And I'm ready to also learn a lot from you today. So guys, grab your notepads, your pens. I've got 2 notepads here if somebody needs one, and as many pens as you want. And then we take it from there. Thank you, Kimberly. Over to you, my dear. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. King. That was like the best intro. I love listening to you. You're so energetic. You got full of jokes. You got full of quotes, and I love it. Jokes and quotes always get me, and it keeps me on my mind very engaged, and it keeps me like, okay, what's next? What's next? What are you gonna say next? So it's on my toes, and I love it. Today we're gonna talk about the excuses, right? And so we all have them, right? We're not perfect, except for Mr. King. He's probably has no excuses ever. But we got to check ourselves, right? So do you have an excuse mindset? Do you even know? Are you even aware? If you do, we're going to get rid of them today. So this is going to be short and sweet, and we're going to go through this, and you can jot some note downs, or if this is you or this is someone that you're approaching, then you can also jot some notes down and to use it against them and overcome their excuses and help them be a friend to them, and not to be mean or disrespectful to them, but just to kind of remind them like, hey, maybe that's not the case, right? So excuse number 1, I don't have money. A lot of people always say like, oh, I can't afford that, but they haven't even asked like what the packages are. Luckily in New Era, we actually have so many packages that can cater to anybody. So if they don't have $50 to invest in themselves to learn in New Era, then that's already a problem. That's a huge reason why they actually need to do something so that they can gain that extra income. And so if they say, you know what, I don't have money, it's like, okay, well, that's perfect. I'm glad that you said that. Let's help you get more, because this is not okay. People have money for new shoes, for brand name purses. They spend like hundreds of dollars on different things, always having the newest phone, going on that vacation or restaurants and going out to eat all the time instead of cooking and saving at home. People can find at least $50 to join something and then earn their money and then increase their packages as they go on and learn more about how the many ways that we have accessible to them. Excuse number 2, I don't have time. And take it from me, I just had a kid. I have a traditional business as well. I do other side businesses because, as they say, millionaires have at least the average of 7 different multiple streams of income. Yes, that is very true. So a lot of people that are entrepreneurs or self-employed, they have other things going on. But sometimes the busiest people are actually the best to do this. When they say like, I don't have time, it's because they're not pre-planning, what needs to be done. I have many things that I do say like, oh, I don't have time for that. But then I correct myself and I change it and I say, actually, I don't make time for it because I know I can really find the time. Sometimes I find myself on social media, and I'm sure that you're also one of these people that you're just scrolling and all of a sudden you're like, oh, that was like an hour or half an hour passed by or 4 hours or whatever it is, or you're watching a movie, maybe binge watching a new series on Netflix or whatever it is that you watch. Sometimes there's just a little bit more time that you didn't, you just got to find it, right? And you got to help that person find it as well. Maybe they can't see that there is. I just like Philip King, I love quotes. This one really stood out to me. 99% of the failures come from people who have the habit of making excuses. George Washington Carver. So this is true. This is a lot of people don't actually succeed because they're full of excuses. Excuse number 3, I don't have the patience. This one's kind of a new one because, when you're dealing in business, you're dealing with people, especially in this kind of industry, affiliate or MLM, network marketing, you have to deal with a lot of people's personalities, right? So you do need to have that patience. And if you look at your life and you're like, hey, I don't have time for people, I don't want to talk to people or whatever, sometimes we just have to do what we have to do, right? Like you work at a job that maybe you're not happy with. You have patience for your boss and your coworkers. You still do what you do. Sometimes your kids are giving you a headache and you don't have patience for that, but you still do it. So maybe you have to pivot and change your mindset. and really focus on what can you make patience for, or what can you pray for, or what can you practice patience, your patience to be stronger in. Excuse number 4, I'm going to do it someday. No, you won't, because someday obviously is not one of the days in the week. And so someday will never come. So you really have to, like we've talked about so many times, make smart goals and actually write the things that you need to do to get to those goals so that you can do it. So never say, I'm going to do it someday, because it's just not going to happen. You know, you can say, I'm going to do it before May ends, or I'm going to do it in 2 weeks, or on Monday, I'm going to sit down with somebody and make it serious, make it detailed, make that deadline for what you need to do. The only thing standing between you and your goal is a story you keep telling yourself as to why you can't achieve it. Jordan Belfort. This one really hits home because there's a lot of people that, you know, have their own stories, and there's two different kinds of people. There's people that, you know, they came from an upbringing where they have poverty mindset. They're raised by their parents not to do businesses or not to think out of the box, and they're just stuck in that mindset. And then they kind of play the victim mentality. Oh, you know, wasn't able to do this, and this is not what I was taught. I don't know how to do that. You know, all these excuses. And then there's other people that went through the same thing, but they turned it around and they changed their pathway and said, you know what, even though I didn't have that role model, even though I didn't have that money, I'm going to find a way how I can learn. And this is what New Era is about, right? We're all about learning mindset. We're all about learning how to make other sources of income. And this whole new digital currency is new to a lot of people. And it's scary to learn, but you gotta actually take control of what you can do and not complain about the things in the past. And my husband always says, there's no point in crying over spilt milk. It's already done. It's done. What can you do about it? Let's go forward, right? So excuse number 5, if you can pay for me, I would start. A lot of people in this kind of industry is like, oh, you know, you have lots of money, you're making a lot. Why don't you pay for me? I'll tell everybody and all this stuff. I've heard that so many times. And in the past, I've made that mistake where I looked at them and I said, you know what, they have so much potential. I'm going to pay for their package or something. And they don't do anything. Listen, if they say that they don't respect you, and they don't respect the fact that, you know, they're using your money to invest in them. And basically, if they're not going to start on their own, they're not going to put value to it. So just be careful with that. I know a lot of people in this industry does this. And I mean, unless they're your really close brother, sister, or something, or your mom, then I understand. But if it's not, and you just see someone like that you think can do it, do not invest in it, because they're not going to take it seriously. They're going to waste your time. And if you had to pay for them, you're going to have to pay for them to come to an event. You're going to have to pay for them to come to a training call or to change their mindset or something. So please be aware of that. You can have results or excuses, but you can't have both. Arnold Schwarzenegger. So yes, obviously excuses don't come with results. So you need to pick, and obviously we know what we need to do. What we want is results. And if we don't know how to do that, we really need to team up with our leaders, our team, and ask for help, you know, ask for guidance. Like, look, I'm stuck. I don't know how to get out of this funk I have. I need to like grow. I need your help. Like, we can't read your mind. So this is why this is the beauty of MLM, network marketing, or this industry, is that we can work together. Excuse number 6, it's a scam, right? A lot of people say, oh, this is a scam, or what we famously know, it's a pyramid scheme. Well, if you look at everything that we do, really, there's so many scams out there, right? Like more than ever. But what's the biggest scam than working 40 hours a week for 40 years, at the end of the 40 years, getting 40% of your income, right? And if you live in a city like I live in Vancouver, that retirement money is like so little. There's so many people here that are retired that have to keep working, even though they're a lot older now. They have to find a business, or they have to find gigs here and there for cash, because they cannot afford to live in this city with 40% of what they're earning. So that's the biggest scam that I know. Other scams are like, you know, having a job take over so much of your time and not spending time with your family, not being able to do that, right? So again, a mindset shift. Excuse number 7, I'm not good at selling. This one is a huge one, because so many people said that. So they look at the leaders and they say, oh, you know, they look at Philip Kane, they're like, oh, they're such a good speaker. Or they look at Imran like, oh, he's so successful. Of course he's good at this. Or, You know, they look at me and like, oh, she talks a lot, you know, she likes people. That's not even the case about this industry. All we're doing is sharing. So if you see something or you feel something and you believe in what you're doing, you're just sharing it to your friends and family because you are caring about them. So don't think about it that you're selling someone. Don't be like salesy, like car salesman, like really sleazy. Just share what you're doing, share what is done for you, share your testimony, you know, like, you know, testify about it, that you believe in it. And you'll see that it's so natural, because honestly, we do this all the time and this is repetitive. We've talked about, you know, shout out to Mandy, one of our last trainings, we were talking about how we always do this, especially women. We get a new, you know, we go to a new restaurant or watch a new movie, we talk about it. We're like, hey, did you watch this new movie? We're just sharing about it. We're not making money from Netflix or from the movie theaters, right? This is another good one from Benjamin Franklin. He that is good for making excuses is seldom good for anything else. Meaning excuses are pretty useless, right? Like you can't get a lot done when you are full of excuses. So again, we're like instilling and I'm hammering it in your head to get rid of those today. Excuse number 8, I can't because it will interfere with my welfare / disability or maternity money. This I hear a lot, because obviously with depending on where you're from in the world and your government and how kind they are to you. But in my case, let's say if I was on maternity leave, I can make only, I believe, about 40 to 60% of my income. And so if I were to make money somewhere else out of that, then I won't get that money, which in someone's mindset, they can say, oh, that's free money, right? Like you're getting income for just being on maternity leave or disability leave. Yes, you can. But what if you made more money in your side hustle in New Era and it overpassed that? Then you wouldn't rely on the government or wouldn't rely on the 40 or 60% of that. Anyways, you wouldn't even need it. So sometimes we just think too much like, oh no, I can't make more money because I'm on welfare. It's like, buddy, you don't want to be on welfare. That's the problem. If you're on welfare, then obviously you need more money. So you need to flip that mindset again, that poverty mindset. You're thinking too small. You need and you earn and well deserving of more than that. Excuse number 9. My boss won't let me do a side hustle. So listen, I have a brother-in-law who's been working at a job for like 14 years, very dedicated and super committed to his work, gave it his whole everything. And in about like just like 2 weeks of budget cuts, he was cut. He was one of the highest paying people there. And there's some law and maybe some lawsuit in there, because a lot of companies are now down, like they're cutting their budget cutting. They're taking away the people that they're paying more to and hiring people from all over the world or maybe less experience and paying them less so that they can save money. So as much as you feel like your boss is like your best friend, your confidant, you know, they're like your ride or die and that you owe them, you feel like you owe them, in any time in their business, usually, well, I want to say like 99% of the time, if they need to, they will get rid of you, right? You're a number, you are replaced, you can be easily replaced. And unfortunately, you got to put you first, right? You got to think about you first. So don't put that excuse out there that your job is not allowing you to do that. Number 10, this was a big one. A lot of people have this fear, right? I'm scared I will fail. I'm scared I'm going to be embarrassed or I'm going to make a fool out of myself. I still sometimes will have flashbacks of that. Like, oh, what if people are talking about me like this or whatever? Or I'm not in that company anymore. It's like, who cares? Like, no, everybody's like thinking about their own lives. They're not thinking about you. You think that they're thinking about you so much and they're really not. So, you know, what you should be more of fear in is that you're not going to actually try. So the fear of you not trying is actually more scary. It should be more scarier than not actually trying at all. Because what if you don't fail, right? So with this kind of mindset, with all these limitations on yourself and with these excuses, it's really not going to change or, you know, make you grow personally or in your business professionally as well. So you really have to think about, you know, what it is that you keep saying. You keep singing the same song, you keep saying the same story to people. Why is it that you're stuck, right? And so that's really important. Sometimes you have to put pride aside and take that time and be like, hey, what is holding me back? What excuse do I keep talking about? And sometimes those excuses could be valid. They could be reasons that are really hard for you to get out, but that's okay. You need to just figure out which ones you can eliminate, right? And you don't have to eliminate all your excuses today, like I mentioned in the first slide. You want to really just go like chip it away, write a list and be like, okay, that I can change. Okay, I'm not going to say that about myself anymore. I'm going to get that poverty mindset out of my system. I'm going to change those words and flip it around, right? Because if you know what the definition of insanity is, it's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So that one always sticks to my head, because sometimes I see people or I meet people or I know people right now, and they're just doing the same thing over and over again, not changing, not growing, not changing their verbiage, not changing their mindset, not spiritually growing, not professionally growing, all of these things. And they think that, like everything should just change for them or something magically, like it's just gonna poof, right? So that's not the case. You have to work, you got to do the works and stuff and help, right? And a lot of us here, we have our spiritual relationship with, with your God. I have my spiritual relationship with my God, and I can't just pray for something and expect him to go, oh, I'm gonna just do that for you, like boom. There are miracles, I believe in miracles, yes, but we have to meet them halfway, right? We can't just expect everything just fall in our laps. We have to put some work into it. We have to put some time into it, maybe a little bit of money, maybe a little bit investment, and come on these calls. These road to success calls really help a lot of people. Me and Mandy have gotten huge amounts of feedback on how it's helped them, because we know that inspiration, motivation, all those things kind of slide away, right? After this call, you might go back to your life and then everything goes back again to the old self. And you're like, oh, like I really needed that. I really needed that call to be on to like motivate me, or to like help you overcome the next objection that someone's going to say, or next negative comment that someone's going to say, right? So I encourage you guys to just come on these calls, even though you feel like, hey, no, I've heard that before, or I've been in this business or this industry in a long time. I've been in this industry for more than 10 years as well. And I hear so many different things, but I learn and I take things differently at different times in my life. Like I'm going through a different season right now, being like a mother of a 1.5-year-old. There's always different changes. And I see her and I'm just like, wow, like I really can take a lot of the nuggets that I've learned and apply them now. Whereas maybe before, when I was younger, I didn't think it was relevant, but now I understand why I need certain trainings that I do. So I hope you guys got at least one nugget today that you can take and that you can apply today in your business as well as your personal life. And then you could share another nugget with someone on your team that you're thinking of as you were, listening and carefully writing your notes down and throughout this whole call. So I want to thank Philip King for doing the back training office. I actually learned a lot from you as well. I've been on these calls and listening, and every time I listen to a new speaker and present, I'm always learning something new. And like you said, when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. And so I really do feel that every time I come up here. So be ready, you guys. Get rid of at least one excuse today, whether it is the business, whether it's your health goals. It took me a while to message a friend who's a personal trainer. And I said, you know what? I need your help. Give me a meal plan and a home workout. I need to do something because I'm tired of my excuses. And so I did that first step. And now the next step is to receive, what he's going to give me. And I'm going to apply that. And I'm going to like get rid of those excuses. So I hope that you guys can do that as well today. Thank you so much, everybody, for logging on the call. We had a good turnout. I think there's about like 80 people on here all over the world. I'm super stoked and super honored to be able to share all of this with you. And I hope that you guys can really just take this, learn from it. You guys have been a blessing in my life, and I hope that I've been able to bless you guys and bless other people. Thank you so much. Thank you, Imran. Thank you, Philip King. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kimberly. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful one. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good night. Good evening. Good morning.
Bye-bye.